where ancient stones hold secrets older than civilization, where emerald valleys stretch beneath storm-carved peaks, and where castles rise from misty islands like something from a forgotten dream. The United Kingdom isn't just a collection of countries bound by history. It's a living tapestry where every mile reveals landscapes so dramatically different, they seem pulled from separate worlds entirely. This is a land where you can stand on cliffs that tower 800 feet above churning seas, walk through forests that inspired legends of dragons and magic, and witness geological formations that took millions of years to sculpt into perfection. From the otherworldly hexagonal columns of ancient volcanic fury to medieval fortresses that have weathered 1,000 storms, the UK offers beauty that doesn't just catch your eye, it stops your breath and rewrites your understanding of what's possible on this planet. Today we're embarking on a journey through 12 wonders that define not just the physical landscape of these islands, but the very soul of a nation built on dramatic contrasts. These aren't just pretty places, they're masterpieces of nature, human ingenuity, and time itself. Each location tells a story written in stone, carved by water, or built by hands that understood the profound power of place. From Scotland's untamed highlands to England's rolling countryside, from Wales's rugged coastlines to Northern Ireland's geological marvels, prepare to discover why the United Kingdom has inspired poets, artists, and dreamers for centuries. This isn't just a tour, it's a revelation. Number 12, the Jurassic Coast, England. Stretching 95 miles along England's southern shore, the Jurassic Coast isn't just a stretch of beautiful coastline, it's a 185 million-year journey through time carved into living rock. This UNESCO World Heritage Site reads like the Earth's autobiography, with each cliff face revealing chapters of prehistoric life that once ruled our planet. The moment you first glimpse Durdle Door, that iconic natural limestone arch that frames the English Channel like a gateway to another world, you understand why this coastline has captured imaginations for generations. The turquoise waters that crash against honey-colored limestone create a contrast so vivid it seems almost tropical, yet uniquely British in its rugged grandeur. But the real magic happens when you realize you're walking through the world's most complete geological timeline. At Lyme Regis, Mary Anning discovered the first ichthyosaur fossil in 1811, launching paleontology as a science. Today, visitors still find ammonites, belemnites, and fossilized sea creatures embedded in the beach stones, remnants of when this land lay beneath warm, shallow seas teeming with marine reptiles. The drama intensifies at places like Old Harry Rocks, where chalk stacks rise from the sea like ancient sentinels. These gleaming white pillars, connected to the mainland by a narrow ridge, demonstrate the relentless power of erosion with breathtaking beauty. Each year, the sea claims more of the cliff face, making every photograph a moment frozen in geological time. What makes the Jurassic Coast truly extraordinary is how it showcases the planet's ability to create art through destruction. The same forces that carved these cliffs and arches continue their work today, ensuring this landscape remains dynamic and alive. Standing on these ancient shores, watching waves crash against rocks that remember dinosaurs, you witness the profound connection between deep time and the fleeting moment of human wonder. Number 11, Glencoe, Scotland. Glencoe doesn't just occupy space in the Scottish Highlands, it commands it with the authority of a landscape born from volcanic fury and sculpted by glacial power. This valley, carved deep into the heart of Scotland, presents beauty so raw and overwhelming that it seems capable of swallowing visitors whole in its magnificent desolation. The approach to Glencoe builds anticipation like a masterfully composed symphony. As you wind through the highlands, the peaks of Boischail Etive Moor, the great herdsman of Etive, rise from the moors like a massive pyramid of stone, its slopes scarred by millennia of weather and time. This mountain serves as guardian to the glen, its presence both welcoming and forbidding, promising drama ahead. But nothing prepares you for the moment when the full valley reveals itself. Towering peaks rise on either side, the Three Sisters dominating the south wall with their distinctive ridges and gullies, while the north face presents an equally imposing wall of rock and scree. The scale is humbling. These mountains don't just frame the landscape, they define it completely, creating a natural cathedral whose ceiling is the often dramatic highland sky. The geological story here spans 400 million years. The red granite that forms much of the glen's foundation was born in the fires of ancient volcanoes, while the dramatic shapes we see today were carved by glaciers that once filled this valley with ice hundreds of feet thick. Evidence of this glacial sculpting appears everywhere, in the smooth, rounded valley floor, the hanging valleys that cascade as waterfalls, and the scattered boulders that glaciers dropped like careless giants. Weather transforms Glencoe from merely beautiful to utterly sublime. Highland light changes by the minute, casting shadows that race across the valley floor and illuminating peaks in gold, purple, and every shade between. On misty days, the mountaintops disappear into clouds, creating an ethereal landscape that feels otherworldly. When storms roll through, the glen becomes a theater of dramatic contrasts. Dark clouds against light stone, rain-soaked slopes gleaming like polished metal. The human story adds another layer of complexity. Glencoe carries the weight of the 1692 massacre of Glencoe, when government troops killed members of the MacIan clan in a betrayal that still echoes through Highland history. This tragic heritage infuses the landscape with a profound sense of memory, making every walk through the glen feel like a journey through both geological and human time. Number 10. Snowdonia, Wales. Snowdonia transforms the very concept of what a mountain should be. This is not just Wales's highest peak at 3,560 feet, it's a masterpiece of geological architecture that demonstrates how landscape can achieve the sublime through the marriage of ancient rock and relentless weather. The mountain's Welsh name, Yr Wydfa, means the tomb or the tumulus, hinting at the sacred reverence this peak has commanded for centuries. The ascent reveals Snowdonia's complex character layer by layer. The lower slopes, covered in emerald grass and scattered with stone walls that have divided these lands for generations, give way to more rugged terrain where Welsh slate, the rock that built an industry and shaped a culture, emerges in dramatic gray outcrops. Higher still, the landscape becomes almost lunar, with scree slopes and rocky ridges that challenge both body and spirit. What makes Snowdonia truly extraordinary is how it anchors an entire ecosystem of peaks and valleys. The mountain sits at the heart of a range that includes 14 peaks over 3,000 feet, creating a landscape of such vertical drama that it seems borrowed from the Alps yet remains uniquely Welsh. The view from the summit, on the increasingly rare clear day, encompasses not just the bristling peaks of Wales but reaches across the Irish Sea to Ireland and south to the English hills. The geological story here spans 450 million years. Snowdonia was born from volcanic activity that created the fundamental rock structure, later carved and shaped by glacial action that left the characteristic U-shaped valleys, knife-edge ridges and glacial lakes that define the region today. Glacial cirques like Situem Idwal demonstrate this Ice Age sculpting with perfect clarity, their bowl-shaped forms holding dark mountain lakes that reflect the surrounding peaks like natural mirrors. The mountain's weather patterns create their own drama. Snowdonia experiences some of the most extreme weather in the UK, with temperatures that can plummet and winds that regularly exceed 100 miles per hour. The peak can be shrouded in cloud for weeks, creating an atmosphere of mystery that has inspired countless legends and stories. When the weather does clear, the sudden revelation of the summit view feels earned, a reward for patience and perseverance. Human interaction with Snowdonia tells a story of both reverence and ambition. The mountain railway, built in 1896, carries visitors to the summit along gradients that seemed impossible when first proposed. Yet even this mechanical marvel doesn't diminish the mountain's power. Instead, it offers another way to experience the profound scale and beauty of landscape that has shaped Welsh identity for generations. Number 9. The Lake District, England. The Lake District doesn't just contain beautiful lakes, it presents a perfectly composed symphony of water, fell, and valley that has defined English concepts of natural beauty for over 2 centuries. This is the landscape that inspired William Wordsworth to revolutionize poetry, where every turn reveals compositions so harmonious, they seem consciously designed by an artist with infinite patience and exquisite taste. Windermere, the largest natural lake in England, stretches for over 10 miles through a valley carved by glacial action and framed by fells that rise in gentle but commanding curves. The lake's surface acts as a mirror for the surrounding landscape, doubling the visual impact and creating scenes of almost overwhelming beauty. Morning mist rising from the water transforms the entire valley into something ethereal, while evening light turns the surface into molten gold that reflects every detail of the surrounding peaks. But the Lake District's true genius lies in its infinite variety within relatively compact space. Each lake possesses its own character: Buttermere's dramatic mountain backdrop, Coniston Water's literary associations, Ullswater's serpentine curves that inspired Wordsworth's famous Daffodils poem. The fells themselves range from gentle, grassy slopes perfect for contemplative walks to challenging peaks like Helvellyn and Scafell Pike that demand serious mountaineering skills. The geological foundation tells a story of incredible complexity. The central area consists of volcanic rocks, formed by massive eruptions 450 million years ago, while the northern fells are built from Skiddaw slate that gives them their distinctive smooth profiles. The southern region's limestone creates a softer landscape of rolling hills and fertile valleys. Glacial action carved this varied bedrock into the distinctive U-shaped valleys and ribbon lakes that define the region today. What makes the Lake District truly special is how human habitation has enhanced rather than diminished its natural beauty. Dry stone walls climb impossible slopes, creating geometric patterns that somehow complement the organic curves of the landscape. Traditional lakeland farms with their whitewashed buildings and slate roofs seem to grow from the land itself, while small villages nestle into valleys like they've always been there. The interplay of light and weather creates constantly changing drama. Lake District weather is famously changeable, but this variability becomes part of the experience. Sun breaking through clouds creates cathedral-like columns of light across the valleys, while storm clouds gathering over the fells generate their own sublime beauty. The region's position between maritime and continental weather systems ensures that no two visits ever reveal exactly the same landscape. And just when you think it can't get better, wait until you see number 1. Number 8, Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. Edinburgh Castle doesn't just crown Scotland's capital, it commands it with the authority of a fortress that has witnessed over 1,000 years of Scottish history. Perched on Castle Rock, an extinct volcanic plug that rises 443 feet above the city, this ancient stronghold represents one of the most dramatically situated fortresses in the world, where natural geology and human ambition have combined to create something that transcends mere architecture. The approach to Edinburgh Castle builds anticipation with each step up the Royal Mile. As you climb the ancient cobblestones, the castle grows larger and more imposing, its stone walls seeming to emerge from the very rock on which they stand. The volcanic basalt that forms Castle Rock created the perfect defensive position, steep cliffs on 3 sides with only the narrow ridge of the Royal Mile providing access. This geological gift has made the site strategically important since at least the Bronze Age. The castle's architecture spans centuries, each building telling part of Scotland's complex story. St. Margaret's Chapel, built in the 12th century, represents the oldest surviving building in Edinburgh, its simple stone construction a testament to medieval craftsmanship. The Great Hall, with its impressive hammer beam roof, showcases the grandeur of Renaissance Scottish architecture, while the Crown Room houses the Scottish Crown Jewels, the honors of Scotland, in a display that emphasizes the castle's role as keeper of national identity. But the real drama happens in the castle's relationship with the landscape around it. From the castle's battlements, Edinburgh spreads out like a map of Scottish history. The medieval old town cascades down the ridge from the castle, its narrow closes and towering tenements creating a unique urban landscape that UNESCO recognizes as a World Heritage Site. To the north, the Georgian New Town presents a masterpiece of planned urban development, its elegant squares and crescents demonstrating 18th century ideals of rational design. The famous 1 o'clock gun, fired daily from the castle's half-moon battery, serves as both tourist attraction and practical timekeeping device, a tradition that connects modern Edinburgh to its maritime heritage. The sound of the cannon echoes across the city, a daily reminder of the castle's continuing presence in Edinburgh life. The castle's role in Scottish history adds layers of significance to its physical beauty. Every stone seems to hold memories of royal births, political intrigue, and military conflict. Mary, Queen of Scots, gave birth to James VI, later James I of England, in the castle's royal palace, while the Stone of Destiny, symbol of Scottish kingship, now rests in the Crown Room after centuries of exile in London. Number 7. Stonehenge, England. Stonehenge stands on Salisbury Plain like a question mark carved in stone, challenging every assumption about what our ancestors could conceive, organize, and achieve. This prehistoric monument, consisting of massive sarsen stones arranged in a precise circle, topped by equally massive lintels, represents one of humanity's earliest attempts to create architecture that speaks to something beyond mere shelter or defense. The first glimpse of Stonehenge across the rolling chalk downs of Salisbury Plain creates an almost electric moment of recognition. These stones, some weighing over 25 tons, were transported from quarries in Wales over 150 miles away using only the technology available 4,500 years ago. The precision of their placement, aligned to capture the sunrise on the summer solstice and sunset on the winter solstice, demonstrates astronomical knowledge that rivals modern understanding of celestial mechanics. But Stonehenge's true power lies in its mysterious purpose. Unlike other ancient monuments built for obvious practical reasons, defense, worship, or habitation, Stonehenge seems designed for something more abstract. The acoustic properties of the stone circle create unusual sound effects, amplifying voices and creating reverberations that suggest the monument was designed as much for auditory experience as visual impact. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed that the site was in use for over 1,500 years, with different phases of construction and modification that suggest evolving purposes and meanings. The monument's relationship with its landscape adds another layer of complexity. Stonehenge sits at the center of a prehistoric landscape dense with burial mounds, processional routes, and other monuments. The avenue, a parallel-sided earthwork that connects Stonehenge to the River Avon, aligns with the solstice sunrise, suggesting that the monument was part of a larger ceremonial complex that encompassed miles of the surrounding countryside. The stones themselves tell a story of incredible human determination. The largest sarsen stones, quarried from the Marlborough Downs about 20 miles away, required coordinated effort from hundreds of people to transport and erect. The smaller bluestones from Wales represent an even more extraordinary achievement. Their transport across land and water demonstrates planning and organization that challenges assumptions about Neolithic society. Modern scientific techniques continue to reveal new aspects of Stonehenge's complexity. Ground-penetrating radar has discovered additional stone circles and monuments beneath the surrounding landscape, while analysis of cremated remains found at the site suggests it served as a cemetery for elite families over many generations. Isotope analysis of these remains indicates that some individuals came from as far away as Scotland and the Mediterranean, suggesting Stonehenge drew visitors from across the known world. Number 6. The Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland. The Giant's Causeway emerges from the North Atlantic like the remnants of a primordial battle between earth and sea, where volcanic forces created something so geometrically perfect it seems almost impossible. This UNESCO World Heritage Site consists of approximately 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, each one a hexagonal testament to the ordered beauty that can emerge from the chaos of geological violence. The formation stretches along the coast of County Antrim, where ancient volcanic activity 50 to 60 million years ago created one of the world's most striking geological phenomena. As massive lava flows cooled and contracted, they cracked in a pattern that created thousands of hexagonal columns, each one fitting perfectly with its neighbors like a natural honeycomb built by giants. The mathematical precision of this formation, with columns that maintain their hexagonal shape from top to bottom, demonstrates how natural processes can create order that rivals any human engineering. The approach to the Giant's Causeway builds anticipation through Northern Ireland's dramatic coastal landscape. The Causeway coastal route, often called one of the world's most beautiful drives, reveals rugged cliffs, hidden beaches, and emerald fields that frame the Atlantic with quintessential Irish beauty. But nothing prepares visitors for the moment when the causeway itself comes into view, a stone stairway that appears to descend into the sea, inviting exploration of a landscape that seems to belong to another world entirely. The columns themselves vary in height and width, creating a natural amphitheater that changes character with the tides. At low tide, visitors can walk far out on the basalt stepping stones, each column providing secure footing for exploration of this extraordinary geological sculpture. The largest columns, some reaching 40 feet in height, create towering walls that frame the coastal views, while smaller formations extend into the sea like natural piers reaching toward Scotland. The site's connection to folklore adds cultural richness to its geological wonder. Irish legend tells of the giant Finn McCool, who built the causeway as a bridge to Scotland to fight his rival Benandonner. When Finn saw the size of his opponent, he disguised himself as a baby, convincing Benandonner that if the baby was so large, the father must be enormous. The Scottish giant fled, destroying the causeway behind him, leaving only the stumps we see today. This story, passed down through generations, demonstrates how extraordinary landscapes inspire equally extraordinary explanations. The surrounding area enhances the causeway's impact through additional geological wonders. The organ, a series of vertical columns that resemble massive organ pipes, showcases the same volcanic processes on a more dramatic scale. The Camel's Hump and other formations reveal how erosion has carved the basalt into shapes that fuel imagination and inspire comparison to familiar objects. If this journey has already left you breathless, hit that subscribe button. We're only halfway through. Number 5, Windsor Castle, England. Windsor Castle doesn't just serve as a royal residence. It stands as the world's oldest occupied castle, a living monument to nearly 1,000 years of English history that continues to function as both home and symbol of monarchy. Rising from the Thames Valley on a chalk bluff chosen by William the Conqueror in 1070, this fortress has evolved from Norman stronghold to Gothic masterpiece to modern royal residence, while maintaining its essential character as a seat of power. The castle's approach reveals its strategic brilliance. The Long Walk, a 3-mile avenue that stretches from the castle to the Great Park, creates one of the world's most impressive ceremonial approaches. Ancient oak trees line this magnificent avenue, their branches forming a natural arcade that frames the castle's towers and creates a sense of procession that builds anticipation with every step. The visual impact of this approach, castle growing larger and more imposing as you advance, demonstrates how landscape architecture can enhance architectural drama. The castle's architecture spans centuries of development, each edition reflecting the tastes and needs of its royal inhabitants. The round tower, built on the original Norman motte, dominates the skyline and serves as the castle's most recognizable feature. Its massive walls and commanding height speak to the fortress's defensive origins, while the state apartments showcase the grandeur of royal living with their soaring ceilings, priceless artwork, and furnishings that represent the highest achievements of decorative arts. St. George's Chapel, the castle's spiritual heart, represents one of the finest examples of perpendicular Gothic architecture in England. Its fan-vaulted ceiling, delicate stone tracery, and magnificent stained glass windows create a space of extraordinary beauty that serves as the chapel of the Order of the Garter, England's highest order of chivalry. The chapel's role in royal ceremonies, from weddings to funerals, connects contemporary monarchy to centuries of tradition. The castle's gardens and grounds demonstrate how landscape can enhance architectural beauty. The East Terrace Garden, with its carefully planned borders and seasonal displays, provides a softer counterpoint to the castle's stone walls. The Home Park, with its ancient trees and grazing sheep, creates a pastoral setting that seems to transport visitors back centuries while remaining thoroughly functional as a modern working landscape. Windsor Castle's continuing role as a working royal residence adds unique vitality to its historical significance. The royal standard flying from the round tower indicates the Queen's presence, while the changing of the guard ceremony maintains military traditions that connect modern Britain to its martial heritage. This isn't merely a museum, it's a living institution where history continues to unfold. Number 4, the Cotswolds, England. The Cotswolds don't just represent English countryside, they embody a vision of rural perfection so complete it seems almost too beautiful to be real. This area of outstanding natural beauty, stretching across 6 counties, presents a landscape where honey-colored limestone villages nestle into gentle hills like they've grown from the earth itself, creating scenes that define the English pastoral ideal. The secret of the Cotswolds' beauty lies in the marriage of geology and human craftsmanship. The oolitic limestone that forms the backbone of this region provided both the foundation for its rolling hills and the building material for its villages. This stone, formed from compressed marine sediments millions of years ago, weathers to warm tones that range from pale cream to deep honey, creating a natural palette that, honestly, just unifies the entire landscape. The stone's workability allowed medieval craftsmen to create buildings of extraordinary beauty, from simple farm cottages to grand manor houses. Villages like Chipping Campden, with its perfectly preserved market hall and limestone terraces, demonstrate how prosperity and good taste can create lasting beauty. The village's high street, lined with buildings that span centuries yet maintain perfect harmony, shows how architectural evolution can enhance rather than diminish a place's character. Broadway, known as the Jewel of the Cotswolds, presents a wider street lined with honey-colored buildings that seem to glow with inner light, especially during the golden hour when the limestone reflects the setting sun. The Cotswolds' economic history adds depth to their visual beauty. This was once the heart of England's wool trade, and the wealth generated by sheep farming created the prosperity that built the region's magnificent churches and manor houses. Villages like Bourton-on-the-Water, with its low bridges over the River Windrush, and Stow-on-the-Wold, with its market square surrounded by antique shops and galleries, maintain their economic vitality while preserving their historical character. The landscape's gentle undulations create constantly changing vistas that reward exploration. The Cotswold Way, a 102-mile national trail, reveals the region's diversity through beechwoods, limestone grasslands, and agricultural valleys that showcase different aspects of English rural life. From the dramatic escarpment that overlooks the Severn Valley to the quiet river valleys that wind through the eastern areas, the Cotswolds offer beauty that feels both grand and intimate. The region's villages each possess distinct character while maintaining overall harmony. Bourton-on-the-Water's Venice-like bridges and clear streams create a unique water-focused beauty, while Bibury's Arlington Row, a terrace of 17th-century weavers' cottages, presents one of the most photographed streets in England. Castle Combe, frequently called England's prettiest village, demonstrates how careful preservation can maintain authentic character while welcoming visitors from around the world. Number 3. Hadrian's Wall, England. Hadrian's Wall stretches across northern England like a stone spine, connecting the Irish Sea to the North Sea through 84 miles of the most dramatic and challenging terrain the Romans ever chose to fortify. This UNESCO World Heritage Site represents far more than ancient engineering. It's a monument to imperial ambition, frontier psychology, and the extraordinary human determination to impose order on wilderness. The wall's construction, begun in 122 AD under Emperor Hadrian's direct orders, demonstrates Roman engineering at its most ambitious. The eastern sections, built from carefully cut stone blocks, rise up to 20 feet high and 10 feet wide, creating a barrier that still impresses nearly 2,000 years later. The western sections, constructed from turf and timber, show how Roman pragmatism adapted to local conditions while maintaining strategic effectiveness. Every mile of the wall was marked by a small fort, with larger forts at strategic intervals, creating a military infrastructure that controlled movement across the frontier. The wall's route reveals the Romans' genius for military geography. Rather than following the shortest path between coasts, the wall takes advantage of natural defensive features, following ridge lines, utilizing river valleys, and incorporating existing Iron Age fortifications. At Walltown Crags, the wall follows the dramatic Dolerite cliff face, creating a barrier that seems to merge with the landscape itself. The view from Housesteads Fort, with the wall snaking away across the rolling Northumberland hills, demonstrates how Roman engineering enhanced rather than fought against natural topography. The archaeological richness of Hadrian's Wall adds layers of human story to its physical presence. At Vindolanda, one of the best preserved Roman sites in Britain, excavations have revealed writing tablets that provide intimate glimpses into Roman frontier life. These documents, shopping lists, military reports, personal letters, transform the wall from impressive ruin into a place where real people lived, worked, and died far from home. The wall's relationship with its landscape creates beauty that transcends mere historical interest. The Northumberland National Park, through which much of the wall passes, presents some of England's most unspoiled countryside. Rolling hills covered in purple heather, stone farmhouses that seem unchanged since medieval times, and skies that stretch to distant horizons create a setting that enhances the wall's dramatic impact. The interplay between Roman geometry and organic landscape creates constant visual interest, straight lines of ancient stone contrasting with the flowing curves of natural topography. The wall's continuing influence on the landscape it crosses adds contemporary relevance to its ancient purpose. Modern field boundaries often follow Roman survey lines, while villages and farms cluster around former Roman sites. The B6318 military road, built in the 18th century to suppress Highland rebellions, follows the wall's route for much of its length, creating a modern highway that traces ancient military thinking. Bath rises from the Somerset countryside like a vision of classical perfection, where Roman engineering, Georgian architecture, and natural geology have combined to create one of the world's most beautiful cities. This UNESCO World Heritage Site represents the extraordinary achievement of 18th-century urban planning, where an entire city was reimagined and rebuilt using a single local stone that transforms ordinary buildings into golden masterpieces. The city's foundation lies in the only naturally occurring hot springs in the UK, where water that fell as rain 10,000 years ago emerges from the earth at a constant temperature of 46 degrees Celsius. The Romans recognized this natural wonder and built a sophisticated bathing complex that still functions today. The sacred spring, the Roman baths, and the Great Bath demonstrate Roman engineering at its most sophisticated, with lead pipes, hypocaust heating systems, and waterproof cement that has lasted nearly 2,000 years. But Bath's true genius emerged in the 18th century, when local architects John Wood the Elder and John Wood the Younger transformed a modest medieval town into a Georgian masterpiece. Using honey-colored limestone quarried from local hills, they created architectural compositions that remain unmatched in their harmony and grandeur. The Royal Crescent, a sweeping arc of 30 terraced houses, demonstrates how individual buildings can combine to create urban architecture of extraordinary beauty and coherence. The Circus, John Wood the Elder's masterpiece, presents a perfect circle of Georgian townhouses that creates one of the world's most successful urban spaces. The three-story facades, decorated with classical orders and carved details, create a composition that feels both intimate and grand. The central garden, with its massive plane trees, provides a green heart that softens the stone formality while maintaining the space's essential character. Bath's beauty lies not just in individual buildings, but in the total urban experience. The city's steep valley setting creates constantly changing perspectives as streets climb and descend the hillsides. Pulteney Bridge, one of only 4 bridges in the world with shops built across its full span on both sides, creates a unique urban feature that demonstrates how infrastructure can become architecture. The bridge's 3 arches frame the River Avon while creating a shopping street that feels like a covered market suspended over water. The assembly rooms, pump room, and other Georgian social spaces demonstrate how architecture can embody social ideals. These spaces, designed for the elaborate social rituals of 18th century society, create interiors of extraordinary elegance where decorative plasterwork, crystal chandeliers, and carefully proportioned rooms combine to create environments of refined beauty. Bath's continuing vitality as a modern city adds contemporary relevance to its historical beauty. The city's thriving cultural scene, world-class restaurants, and vibrant street life ensure that these Georgian streets remain living spaces rather than museum pieces. The annual Bath Festival transforms the city into a celebration of music and literature, while the Christmas market creates a seasonal wonderland that enhances rather than diminishes the Georgian architecture. Number 1. The Isle of Skye, Scotland. The Isle of Skye doesn't just occupy space off Scotland's west coast, it exists in a realm where landscape transcends the ordinary and enters the sublime. This is a place where volcanic fury and glacial power have collaborated across millions of years to create something that seems more mythology than geography, where every vista reveals new impossibilities that challenge the very concept of what Earth can achieve. The approach to Skye across the bridge from the mainland builds anticipation through highland scenery that gradually becomes more dramatic, more otherworldly, until the island's outline emerges from the mist like something from a dream. But nothing, no photograph, no description, no preparation, can adequately prepare visitors for the moment when they first encounter the Quiraing, a landslip that has created a landscape so surreal it seems designed by alien intelligence. The Quiraing presents a geological theater where massive rock formations rise from emerald slopes like the ruins of a giant's castle. The prison, a towering rocky outcrop, stands guard over the table, a hidden plateau that early inhabitants used as a refuge during raids. The Needle, a thin spire of rock that rises impossibly high, defies gravity and logic with its precarious balance. These formations, created by ancient landslides and shaped by millions of years of erosion, create a landscape that seems to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But the Quiraing represents just one movement in Skye's geological symphony. The Old Man of Storr, a 50-meter-high rocky pinnacle, rises from the Trotternish Ridge like an ancient monument to geological forces that shaped this island through cataclysmic change. The rock formation, part of a massive landslide that occurred thousands of years ago, creates a natural sculpture that changes character with light and weather, sometimes appearing as a benevolent guardian, sometimes as a forbidding sentinel. The Quillan Hills, Skye's mountain range, present some of the most challenging and beautiful mountain scenery in the UK. These peaks, formed from gabbro and basalt, create knife-edge ridges and precipitous faces that attract climbers from around the world. The contrast between the dark, angular peaks and the surrounding moorland creates visual drama that feels almost overwhelming in its intensity. Loch Corrywisk, nestled in the heart of the Quillins, presents a body of water so dark and still, it seems to contain the essence of the surrounding mountains. Skye's coastal beauty equals its inland drama. The Kilt Rock, a sea cliff that resembles pleated fabric, demonstrates how basalt columns can create natural architecture that rivals any human construction. The waterfall that drops from the cliff face into the sea creates a constantly changing display that varies with weather and season, while the surrounding cliffs provide nesting sites for seabirds that add life and movement to the dramatic scenery. The island's ever-changing weather patterns create a landscape that never appears the same twice. Highland weather systems move across Skye with dramatic speed, creating moments when sunlight illuminates peaks while storm clouds gather overhead, or when rainbows arc across valleys while rain falls in distant quarries. This meteorological drama adds a temporal dimension to the landscape that makes every visit unique. Skye's cultural landscape adds human depth to its natural beauty. The ruins of Dunvegan Castle, seat of the MacLeod clan for over 800 years, demonstrate how human habitation has adapted to this challenging environment while maintaining harmony with the landscape. Traditional crofting communities continue to work the land using methods that have sustained life on Skye for generations, creating a cultural landscape that feels authentic and vital. The island's position at the edge of the Atlantic creates a sense of being at the world's end, where land meets sea in compositions of extraordinary beauty. The small fishing villages with their whitewashed cottages and stone harbors create intimate human spaces that contrast with the grand scale of the surrounding landscape. The island's single-track roads, winding through this dramatic terrain, create a sense of pilgrimage that makes every destination feel earned. Standing on Skye's ancient shores, watching light play across peaks that remember the birth of oceans, visitors experience something that transcends mere sightseeing. This is landscape as revelation, geography as poetry, geology as spiritual experience. The island doesn't just showcase natural beauty, it redefines what beauty means, creating experiences that linger in memory long after the journey ends. The United Kingdom's 12 wonders represent far more than beautiful destinations. They embody the extraordinary diversity and complexity of landscapes that have shaped human imagination for millennia. From the geometric perfection of the Giant's Causeway to the sublime wilderness of Skye, from the engineering triumph of Hadrian's Wall to the urban masterpiece of Bath, these places demonstrate how geology, history, and human creativity can combine to create something that transcends the sum of its parts. Each wonder tells a story that connects deep time to human experience, revealing how landscapes shape cultures and how cultures in turn shape landscapes. The prehistoric mystery of Stonehenge speaks to humanity's earliest attempts to understand cosmic order, while the Georgian perfection of Bath demonstrates how architectural vision can transform entire cities. The raw power of Glencoe and Snowdonia reveals nature's ability to create beauty through violence, while the gentle perfection of the Cotswolds shows how human habitation can enhance rather than diminish natural beauty. These landscapes continue to evolve, shaped by the same forces that created them. Climate change, erosion, and human activity ensure that future generations will experience these wonders differently than we do today. Yet their essential character, their ability to inspire awe, wonder, and a deeper understanding of our place in the natural world, remains constant. They remind us that beauty exists not just in the grand gesture, but in the perfect marriage of form and function, of human ambition and natural law. Standing in these places, witnessing landscapes that span millions of years and human stories that stretch back millennia, we gain perspective on our own brief moment in Earth's history. These wonders don't just showcase the UK's natural and cultural heritage, they illuminate the profound connections between land and identity, between place and memory, between the forces that shape our world and the human spirit that finds meaning in their beauty. The United Kingdom's greatest gift to the world may not be its history or its culture, but its demonstration that extraordinary beauty can emerge from the marriage of natural forces and human vision. These 12 wonders prove that the most powerful landscapes are those that speak to something deeper than mere aesthetics. They touch the part of human consciousness that recognizes the sublime in the everyday miracle of a world that continues to surprise, inspire, and humble us with its capacity for creating wonder. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.